Hello, everyone. Welcome. You are here with Izzy and Holly live, and we are the facilitators for the High Business Mastermind for unbiased feedback. And so we are going to be coming on live today to talk about how to elevate your elevator pitch. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Holly, and I am a group facilitator as well as a coach and help entrepreneurs as well. And Izzy is a social media and digital marketing and business strategist. And so, Izzy, we're going to talk a little bit today about how to elevate your elevator pitch. But before we get into it, someone might be watching and going, I'm kind of confused on what an elevator pitch is. Maybe could you share a little bit about that? What is an elevator pitch?
Yeah, so elevator pitch is not the same as it used to be, right? Like literally it was thought of being at work and you've got a stakeholder in the elevator with you and you need to pitch an idea to them real quick to get their buy-in. Or maybe you need to pitch a sales pitch real quick to someone, and it's just not that way anymore. This is really our 60-second introduction of what we're all about in order to engage people to ask more questions or take action and get involved. And so it varies, and it's going to vary based on your target market. So it's no longer, here's my one elevator pitch that I use all the time. You might have two or three, and they're going to be really similar. And you're going to get so good at it that you're able to easily craft and create those and adjust those to whoever you're talking to.
Okay, well, so
So,
when would somebody use an elevator pitch? Is this more like just at networking events, or where do you use your elevator pitch?
yeah, anytime you're introducing yourself, right? Especially at networking events, because they're like, hey, you get 60 seconds, introduce yourself real quick. And we do that like, oh, okay, right? And that pause. And a lot of times people are waiting to practice their elevator pitch, their pitch, their introduction until when they get to the networking event. And that's not the time to practice. Like we need to be ready before we get there, because I don't know about you, but they ask and then you take that deep breath and other people are introducing themselves and you're like, okay, and you're trying to think of it or remember it real quick. And then the 60 seconds comes, you spit out something similar to what you thought you were going to do. And then you're just like, I just missed out on such an opportunity, especially if it was unplanned and you got to introduce yourself to the entire room.
Yeah, I've had that happen before, and then I'm like, I'll disassociate and go, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know what I just said." I'm like, "I hope it landed. Who knows?" But like, sometimes this is your first impression is a lasting impression. This may be your only time to ever voice to that group of people, and you don't know who that person is or who they know that can connect you to wherever that is you're trying to go. So it really does make a big difference. It is your first impression to anybody into an introduction, and you don't always get those chances back.
You don't. And you made a really great point. Like there may be someone in the room that can introduce you to someone else. And I feel like that's an opportunity that a lot of people forget about. That that impression you're making could be, let's say you needed to meet the mayor and it's the mayor's daughters in the room. And she would have been really excited to tell her dad about this person. And now you missed out on that opportunity. So even if you're in a room where you think it's not that big a deal, it's always a big deal.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into, so what would be the best way to craft your elevator pitch? Because you mentioned that we might need one, two, three. So, like, how do you even get started? If somebody's like, okay, I think I already have it done, well, maybe you might want to check back and go, do I have all these elements? You may be missing one or two that could be making the difference on you making these big connections that you really want to make in the business world or wherever you're trying to connect. So, what are some of those elements?
Yeah, so anyone that works with me knows that I'm really big on frameworks of having a process that can really be something that you fill in the blank. I love to simplify. Okay, so I want to give you five steps that are going to help you craft your elevator speech. And That way you can at least go through in your mind to go, okay, did I hit those points? First, I do this. Second, I do that. Third, I do this. Fourth, I do this. Fifth. And then you can also utilize these to shape and shift them. So, as we start with number one is to address the problem. Now, it's going to be a little different when you're in person versus when you're doing it online. And the reason, because in person, we have this lovely ability, and this could be virtual, meaning in person as well. You have the ability to read their body language. This is key. I see a lot of people, they go online and they type out their pitch and they start with asking a question. First of all, on social media, online, don't start with asking a question. That does not set you up as the expert. But when you're in person, you can say, have you ever been at a networking event and they told you to introduce yourself for 60 seconds and you just froze and you had this inner panic? And right? And you're like, "Oh yeah." And they lean in. You know that you have their attention. If you don't have their attention, maybe there's a follow-up question. Maybe they're like, "No, like I always know what I'm going to say." So I could be like, "Well, maybe you've delivered it and afterwards you were like beating yourself up going, I could have done so much better." Oh, now they're leaning in. Okay, that's where I got them. And you're taking this mental feedback as well when you're doing that. Now, the next portion is pretty much going to be the same, but you need that research and that feedback through that first question, because if you're going to continue the conversation later, you have that mental note now. Okay. So step one is addressing. Now I mentioned the in person. Now, what do we do online? Online, it's like you went to a networking event and you fumbled. I want to show you how to do your elevator speech in 5 steps. That's direct to the point. I'm not beating around the bush. They know exactly why they need to read the next line. So that's why in person and virtual is slightly different. Now, the second one, we want to explain what we do. And this is, what service do we provide, or which transformation do we provide? And we need to be super clear. And this is where the people really need to take that time to craft it. Because if you're not super clear, how are they going to be really clear? Okay. So for us, like, we've developed this container, this safe place for people to come and get unbiased feedback on things like their elevator pitch or their branding or their packaging or their pricing. And we're doing that because it sucks doing it all by yourself. And then you've got like maybe the devil and the angel sitting on your shoulder debating, and you don't know which one should win.
Yeah. Well, I've got another one there. Like, you've been in groups where maybe they're talking tech, and their ideal client is just the average Joe that doesn't understand all these terminologies. And I'll hear somebody pitch, and then my eyes roll over, and I'm like, I don't even know what they're even talking about. So we can't always see what others can't see. So having that unbiased feedback is also helpful to go, I have no clue what you're talking about. And if I'm your ideal client, it's really important that I use the language that you understand, not talking above you. And a lot of people get caught up that in their elevator pitch, or just even in their sales pitch later on.
Yeah. And so that's exactly point number 3. We need to communicate our value. So for you and I, our value of this is, we've been in all these other masterminds. We've been in these paid coaching groups and containers. We've taken the online courses, and we know exactly all the things that we hated, that didn't go well, that were promised and under-delivered. And we've said we want to create something for all of those other people, because we've also talked to them and said, "Oh, that sucked," or "I don't like masterminds. I've been in them before." We want to meet people where they're at, and we want to give them what they're really searching for, is that space, safe space, real feedback, the real support. So like you have a team of people that you can really lean on. And we're even willing to be like, afterwards, there's additional questions you can ask. And we don't want just feedback from just us, right? No, like that's the benefit of being in a mastermind. I feel like that's been lost a lot because you should be getting the feedback from all these other people. You need the research, you need the feedback. And that's a beautiful thing that, again, I don't think a lot of masterminds are well put together. So having two facilitators do it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
In a good
Well,
way.
it gives additional feedback in the sense of not just this hierarchy, this is the only way. We're bringing all of our knowledge from lots of different areas. We actually have a lot of different, some things that we overlap in our training, and then some things that are completely different. But also what we will be attracting are other people that have not been in the same industry as us as well. So
Yes.
then you really have that overlap of a lot of different viewpoints, and bringing in professionals that are doing the same as you. So your peers actually give you a peer-to-peer review on what they are seeing in this honest, safe container. And what I've noticed, and especially since COVID, is people crave connection. And so many people are now working remotely. We're working much different than what we were before. And we need these containers. You may even be working in a big corporation, and you may just be trying to figure out, like, where do I play in here? You may have to be pitching yourself to executives that are higher level to you. That is still a safe place for you to come, because sometimes it's not safe in your company to have these conversations. So, because, not to say that your company is not safe, but when you're trying to flesh out these ideas from an unbiased point of view, these are a great opportunity to have that in that container.
Yes. So let's review. We just talked about step 3. So step 1 is address the problem. And again, that's slightly different in person versus online. Step 2 is you want to talk about what you provide. And it needs to be very direct, and you may need to have that slightly different depending on who you're pitching to. If you have 4 or 5 different services that you offer, but you're pitching this one service right now, you don't want to pitch all your services because we're talking about one problem that we're solving. So we talk about the service or services that fit to that particular problem. Then we're also going to communicate our value. And so that's what we were just talking about, communicating that value. 4, we want to promote an achievement or our credibility. Now, we kind of just did that all wrapped in one, but things that you might say is, I went and I got my MBA in this. I know the strategic knowledge behind it, but I also have the experience because I've coached over 100 different people. That's attesting to my credibility. You might mention an award that you just got or a promotion that you just got. If you're a business owner, I heard one the other day, it's like, we help people in over 32 countries. Well, you're not just going to blanketly say that. There's a reason why you're saying that. So you're promoting yourself, and you're mentioning an award of some sort that you have. So that's number 4. And then number 5 is passion. People connect to passion. Your knowledge means next to nothing if you do not have passion behind it, because people are connecting to people. And that's exactly why we're hosting this mastermind, is because people need people. We're fixing people's problems. Every business is finding a solution to a problem, but that problem has a person behind it. And Holly and I both love working with people, and we love resolving people's issues and problems as much as we can. We love watching that little light bulb turn on. And they're like, "Oh my gosh." And then when they're like, that sigh of relief, and they're like, "I am so thankful that you just took something really complicated and made it simple, and I understand it. And this is exactly what I needed." That's the favorite thing I hear. This is exactly what I needed.
Yeah. So many people are just teaching concepts, but they're not teaching how to apply these concepts in these spaces where we can actually practice it. You may read it in a book and go, okay, I know how to do that. But until you actually get and apply it, and have that opportunity to role play and practice it, it can be much more challenging to do that. Looking in the mirror, great, awesome. But how many times do you hold yourself accountable to actually do that? Like we said, not going to that networking meeting and that's the first time you've ever used these same words out of your mouth, right? Another thought that I've heard in some elevator pitches is a call to action. How do you feel about that in regards to the structure of an elevator pitch?
Yeah. So, and this is one of those things that it depends on if you're in person or
Mhm.
if you're online. If you are online, you need that call to action. You are not waiting for them to reach out to you. No, don't do it. Most likely, I would say probably 90% of people are not going to reach out to you. And if you're waiting and hanging on to that 2 to 10% that might, your business is going to fall apart. Okay. So you need a call to action specifically online. And it is not, here's my website. That's not a call to action. That's giving them some more information. A call to action would be join my Facebook group or join my LinkedIn group or send me a message or schedule a session with me. Like it needs to be something that you can collect their information and you can really create a connection with them. Now, in person, I like to say wait for the pause. Pause and wait. You're going to give them all this information, and that awkward silence is a beautiful thing. If you're going around in a group, the next person has to go. But if you're one on one with someone, they have to digest it and they're like, okay. And if you're not talking next, it gives them that opportunity to ask another question or to say, oh, well, we should connect. And if they don't say anything and that pause goes a little too long and they look really uncomfortable, then you say something, of course. But we want to make sure that we're giving that opportunity. I see so many people that ruin their pitch because they won't stop talking.
Yes.
60 seconds. Let the other person interject because it's all about research. If you're solving their problem, you want to know their problem and you want to know lots about it because they will give you everything that you need to know. And then you just turn it right back around and help them out.
Absolutely. Well, people want to feel heard. If you just spat at them and then they don't feel heard, you may not have met that problem. So then you may have to uncover more and ask questions and dig into that before you really can honor yourself with a call to action. Like they may not be like, what call to action to do what? Like you haven't solved my problem, I'm not going to, versus really building that connection. That's the benefit of networking groups and or just being out in general. You really never know who you're going to meet and where you're going to meet them. It doesn't have to be at a networking event.
Yes, and that's exactly what the pitch is so important. This is your time to talk. Is that 60 seconds? The rest of the time you're one-on-one with someone, let them talk about themselves and you just ask really good questions. Because they might even solve their own problem right in front of you, but they're going to give you the credit because you listened. All right.
Absolutely. Well, I love all the value that you've brought today with the 5 different steps on how to cultivate, elevate your elevator pitch. But as we've talked about, if you want to share a little bit more, we have dribbled a little bit of what we're doing with the Business Mastermind. But do you mind sharing that invitation?
Yeah, so you're probably like, "Okay, you talked about these 5 steps, I might have written them down a little bit, but do you have a PDF that I can download or have so I can practice this? And how can I get feedback on my pitch once I write it down? Is it a good one?" If you're thinking that, then you really should sign up for our actual mastermind, and it's a one-off, one session, and here's the big catch, right? There's no catch. It's free. We are hosting a free mastermind next Thursday. Now, is it always going to be free? No. So, what we're doing is we're hosting the first 3 are free, and then it's going to be paid. And then we also have a monthly, like, so it's going to be weekly for 6 months, where we're going to go through each and every one. And you will have a whole month, for example, to work on your elevator pitch. Because we can do a lot in one session, But if you need to craft a couple of them and you need to get a little bit more strategic and you need that inspiration, you're probably going to need all month to do it because let's face it, we're busy, and having that container and that scheduled time there to actually work on it might be the only time that you're really working on it, because you keep saying you're going to put it on your list of things to do, or you put it on the list and it just never gets done. And you need that accountability. You need that motivation. You need that inspiration. Maybe it inspires you so much that 30 minutes after our session, you can actually work on it. And then you want to come back and then get some more feedback on what you just worked on. So we are holding all of this space. And if you want more information, please comment below. We are going to post the link for the Eventbrite, where you're going to register for our free mastermind. Free mastermind. Now, there are limited spaces. So we're only allowing 17 people in because it's going to be the real jam. And if you find out you can't attend after you register, you need to let us know too, because we need to keep that spot open for someone. That's really important. Did I cover it all? I think I got
Yeah,
it.
I think so. Yeah, well, wherever this is linked, we'll put it in the comments and probably up in the notes. You'll find the link for the Eventbrite to sign up for it. Make sure that you sign up before 24 hours. Like, sign up now to hold your spot. Why we only have 17 is because we're not going to be talking at you. You actually get to practice. We are holding this container for you. We will guide you. We will also go over some of these things again so that you're very prepared. And then you get this opportunity in a safe container to do this. And so why we want to keep it small and intimate is so that you actually have time to be seen, to share, to connect, to learn and grow through this. Because like Izzy said, oftentimes, especially as entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business professionals, we have full calendars and we don't make that time. So if you can pocket this time for you, you won't be disappointed. And you also will be able to possibly even network with other people that may connect you to the next thing. When they hear your pitch, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I need what you have. And you may actually even make a sale within what we're doing. So it's a win-win all around. And that's really what we try to aim for, is how can we create a win-win situation for everyone? Our passion is in helping people. So join us. If you have questions, feel free to let us know. We will try to come live and do some of these just little simple trainings as well, just to kind of let you know. But the great thing about this program too is that you get to test it before you buy. You get an opportunity. I don't know how many things are out there that I've signed up for the course and then I'm like, I already know this information. This isn't even anything that I wanted to do. Or they don't even have that container where I can connect with somebody. It's self-guided. I'm like, well, that was a waste of money. So this gives you an opportunity to test before you buy. And there's not many things out there that you can do that anymore.
No. And I think it's really great. Again, we kind of made this so that it works for both. Even if you know all the stuff about creating your elevator pitch, it's okay if you know it all. You can still come in and practice. So you're getting the best of both worlds. And that's where we really want to deliver this training on the side so that you can get that information. But the container really is this spot where we can review it real quick. Now let's practice, because there's not enough opportunities out there for us to really practice and get the feedback. There's tons of people, as Holly mentioned in the beginning, there's tons of people teaching these concepts and how to, and then leaving you to do it all on your own. And you come into a container, and I've been in some containers that weren't necessarily, it didn't feel very safe. And Holly and I both have a therapeutic background as well. So when you come in, like, we have strong belief in creating a safe place. So know that you will be safe. We've even thought, like, okay, what are some objections people are going to make? We're going to have a confidentiality clause, to protect you and your pitches. So this is really a safe place. And if you have any suggestions while we're in it to make it safer, we're always listening. This is a no judgment zone. This is a let's help you and let's all help each other. And we want everyone that's in this also with that same thought process.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate it. And I'll just share just kind of briefly why this even came about, or what the concept came from is I'm also an entrepreneur and a solopreneur. And oftentimes me being by myself, I have coaches that I work with, but also just going, okay, there's sometimes when I just need that one off thing, that one thing that's holding me back from being able to like put it out in the world. Like maybe it's my logo. And we're talking about the pitches, but maybe it's my logo or my marketing tagline where I'm like, I'm ready to produce everything, but I need to make sure, because you don't want some kind of phallic looking symbol and you don't even see it, like having different eyes of people that are looking at it and going, oh, that doesn't read the way you think it does. That having that to where I can keep moving forward. I keep hitting these barriers and these roadblocks because not having that support. And that's what this container can continue to grow and do. We're going to have selective topics, but it doesn't mean that we can't expand on that as well. So if there's other things that you need beyond some of the topics that we're talking about, we're also willing to do that, because we know as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, business professionals, you don't always have that place. We want to remove the barriers and blocks that are keeping you from being successful in your business to help you feel empowered, to give you clarity and confidence so you can move forward, because we are all here to elevate each other and move each other through success. And so having that unbiased feedback is it's really priceless. We really need that, and can help you propel your business so much quicker when you have these little roadblock removers. And that's kind of what we're going to be offering in addition to.
Yeah, and creating that safe place for people to challenge us a little bit and and ask some questions and go, "Oh, I didn't think about it that way." Like I work in the corporate world, I work a lot with diversity, equity, inclusion, and like that's one of the big benefits of a corporation that has a ton of diversity in it as well. As we have all these different ideas, we come from different backgrounds. So again, we are going to have completely different views and completely different questions. And maybe you find your target audience right here in that group, in that container, and they can directly ask you that question that you're like, I didn't even think about that. Let me include this. And it could be that one little pivotal thing that just takes your business to the next level.
Absolutely. We're here to help you elevate. Well, I appreciate everybody that's been here to listen, to gain value from this. If you have your elevator pitch and you want to post it below, feel free to post it below. Let us know what you got. Someone might be looking, go, I need what she's got or he's got. And make sure that you go sign up on the link. And then before we head off, Izzy, any final thoughts?
Yes. And this is not a competition. Like this is, again, we say safe place. This is not competition. This is not scarcity mindset. This is abundant mindset. This is community mindset. Okay. So from competition to community. So if you've been craving that community of professionals, because maybe you're not surrounded by them. Maybe you've been wanting to start your own business, but you just aren't surrounded by people that are really supporting what you're doing. So if you need people, we can be those people for you.
You like being people's. All right. Well, thank you, everybody that was on today. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to connecting with you next Thursday at the High Business Mastermind.
All right.
See you later.
Bye.